If you've ever been on a Carnival cruise, then you must be aware of their famous chocolate melting cake that they have on all their ships. And if not, you're in for a real treat. So, let's get started. Alright, so the recipe calls for dark chocolate. I got this dark chocolate from Aldi, and it's actually 85% cocoa. It's delicious on its own, and I think it would be delicious in this recipe. I'm just going to break the bar up into chunks by hand so that it's easier to melt later, and while this is happening, I'm going to preheat my oven to 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Very strange temperature, but they obviously have this down to a science. Now, just to let you know, this recipe is on the Carnival website. I'm going to put the link in the description box down below. That recipe actually makes 4 servings, but I'm not serving a lot of people, so I cut the recipe in half, so we're going to be doing 2 servings today. Next, I'm going to melt some butter, and it doesn't specify whether it's unsalted or salted. I'm actually using salted butter, mainly because it cuts down on some of that sweetness. Next, I'm going to add my dark chocolate, just pour it all in there, and just let it sit for a little bit on low heat, and I'm whisking it until the chocolate is completely melted. Once that's done, I'm going to take it off the heat and let that cool. Next, I got some eggs in a bowl here, and I'm going to add my sugar. I'm using granulated sugar, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon at a time. Once you add all of your sugar, just go ahead and mix that up. It's going to take a couple of minutes until all the sugar has dissolved into the eggs, and once that's done, we're going to add our final ingredient, which is all-purpose flour. And that's actually it for our batter. I'm going to mix this up completely until you see no lumps of flour at all whatsoever. You want this to be completely smooth. And then we're going to take this mixture and we're going to add it to our chocolate. Make sure your butter and chocolate mixture is completely smooth before pouring in your eggs because we do not want scrambled eggs. That'd be bad. And I'm going to whisk this up until I get a nice smooth chocolate batter. This is looking very silky and already smells great, so I cannot wait for this to come out of the oven. I already want to lick the bowl, but there's raw eggs in here, so let's not do that. I have 2 ramekins here, the same kind of ramekins you would use for a souffle, and I'm greasing them with butter and a little bit of granulated sugar. Not just so that the cakes don't stick, but it also adds a little bit of extra flavor and extra richness. Now that these are done, I'm going to add my cake batter. And I'm just going to go back and forth between each ramekin as I add the batter so that in the end, both cakes end up being the same size. And I do apologize, I had the saucepan in front of the camera here and I wasn't really paying attention, so I'm sorry that you really didn't get to see that, but hey, you pretty much get the idea. Just go back and forth until you have batter in both ramekins. And after cleaning it up a little bit, I'm going to put that in my 390 degree Fahrenheit oven for about 14 minutes. That's what it says, so that's what I'm doing. And that seemed to be the perfect amount of time. These were looking and smelling absolutely terrific. And they actually puffed up a little bit. I'm surprised because the only leavener in these cakes is eggs. There's no baking powder, no baking soda. But after sitting for a little bit, they sunk a little bit. I mean, hey, it's called a chocolate melting cake after all. And I'm just going to put some powdered sugar on top. And this is actually looking really, really good. And as you can see, some of the granulated sugar on the side there caramelized in the oven. That's going to be terrific. And after I take some pictures here for the thumbnail, it's time to finally try this cake. While it's warm, not blazing hot, I'm not looking to burn my mouth. And while this is normally served with ice cream, I just wanted to try this cake on its own. And looking at it, you can tell that it's more of a custard than a cake, but it does have a nice texture on the outside. It is completely baked all the way through, so it's not going to be runny in the middle like a lava cake, and that's not what this is. This is a chocolate melting cake, which is completely different. And yes, it is very chocolatey, very delicious, and I was very happy with how this came out. And now that I finally tried the cake on its own, I need to have ice cream on top. I don't have vanilla like they normally serve it, so we're gonna go with Rocky Road here. The cake is still fairly warm. It's been out of the oven for a little bit less than 10 minutes, so having nice warm cake with delicious cold ice cream is just a great combo. You get the 2 temperatures going on, and it is just a wonderful decadent dessert. I'm very happy, and I feel like I'm back on a cruise again. In case you're wondering, yes, it tastes exactly like the ones on the ships. So, I don't need to go on a cruise to enjoy this anymore. However, I'm looking forward to my next Carnival cruise. It's actually happening in 2026. My family and I, we're going to go on the Carnival Mardi Gras. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm glad that I don't have to wait until then to have this cake again. Ooh, it's good. Chocolate ice cream is so much better than vanilla. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Taking this with me.